You're listening to Career Compass with Patrick and Cha-Cha on Base 101.1 FM.
Another chance where we get to update ourselves on things we should do in a workplace, having a conversation with the almighty HR himself. Good morning.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. So I'm curious now. Somebody basically wanted to wish me a happy Easter, and the person said Happy Ascension Day. Have you ever heard that?
I mean, yeah, of course. It's if you're Orthodox, if you're an Orthodox Christian, yeah, that's what terminology they use.
I wanted you to say something to trigger him because I know he's listening. It would do. It is a Monday, and if you're just tuning in, it is Career Compass. Now, this is what we do. We talk about things that could probably make you scream, or things that you'll be wondering why. Yes, those type of things, we'll talk about them in the workplace here for the next 30 minutes. And one of the things that a lot of people kind of shy away from or don't know what to do or where to go is when it has to do with pay, money, salaries. A couple of people are okay staying in a particular spot as long as they have a job. Some people feel like it's not their right to ask for a payment increase. Some people always feel like they need to wait for their employees to increase their salaries. Now, I would love to know from the almighty HR Patrick, if you're feeling stuck in your role and you feel like, the money in your accounts or your paycheck is not reflecting, what should somebody do? Do you think it's right for people to just keep quiet and wait for the employees to actually offer to raise their salary? When is the right time to ask for a raise or promotion?
Yeah, so, I mean, I like the way you started the question. The truth is, salaries, your take-home pay can barely take you to the bus stop, not to talk of taking you all the way home. I mean, I don't know if we're all in the same tipping economy.
Yeah, I am.
So, I mean, within the first 2-3 days of receiving your paycheck, I mean, it's gone.
It's gone.
I mean, let's just say, let's take a pulse check, right? What's the price of petrol like 2 years ago?
185, I guess.
I mean, compared to now, it's
90.
Exactly. So that's like, let's not even do the percentage increase. That's like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 100% increase, right? Did your salary increase by 800%? From 2 years ago to date. So the bottom line is, if you don't ask, realities will tell. So the economic realities, the financial realities will eventually take a toll on you. And if you want to sit down and wait to be given, to be taken care of,
baby girl style,
you might wait a while. I'm not saying your employer may not come around to it, but it might take a lot longer than you'd expect. So back to your question, right? When is the right time? So there are 2 rules of thumb. The first rule is give before you get. Okay. So in that case, what that means is you can ask at a point when you have given value. You just delivered a project, you just you landed a big ticket client, you completed a successful performance review, you're the employee of the month, you're the highest performing employee in your team, so you have obviously given value. Now that is the right time to ask for, hey, I've been MVP 2-3 months in a row, I like to ask for a raise. And then the second rule of thumb when it comes to asking for a raise is when you're being asked to give, right? So that's a good point.
How do you mean?
So for example, you just been given a new assignment, a new role, you've taken on higher responsibility. Maybe your boss resigns and then you've been asked to step into his shoes, so your job role has evolved, right? So you are being asked. So before you were managing a team of 2 or 3, now you are managing a team of 5 or 6. So the scope of your work has increased, so it's going to take more from you. So you invariably you've been asked to give more. So that's also a good time to ask to get more.
I remember one time I was working somewhere and then I had my primary role, and the next thing I was told, we're gonna have to add this events manager. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. Is it coming with an increase? And I got a no.
Yeah, so
I was like, I mean, that was a very toxic working environment. So but I did the job anyways because I wanted to have the experience, and I still fought all of them because I ended up using my own money to pay for something.
Yeah, so that back to the question. Yeah, so your timing was right. Was right. So those are the best times to ask for the raise or promotion without seeming entitled.
Now, aside from asking, there are certain things that I don't know if you're like me. I'm the type of person that before I speak to someone, I've analyzed different scenarios in my head. I've analyzed different responses. So I know that if you ask me this, I feel just come with this side. Now, for asking a salary, I know that I want to ask for a raise, but what should I do? How do I prepare myself to do it? I know one of which is that I'll talk to myself back to back. But are there any scopes as a HR that you think people should get themselves ready for such conversations?
Yeah, so it's a very important conversation, and you cannot go into that kind of conversation unprepared. So one of the first things you need to do to prepare for a salary or a promotion conversation is go with all your receipts complete. So show evidence,
show workings.
Yeah, that's it. Come with your workings, right? Come with all your evidence. Gather all the achievements you've contributed.
Yeah.
And bring it as your receipts. Evidence speaks volumes.
Right.
It will reduce the stories that touch that you're going to be saying. Secondly, know what you're asking for. So if you've been promoted from maybe an associate to a manager, I know you're not HR, but you should have an idea of how much the company usually pays managers. So if you were earning 5 naira before, and you should have a fair guess, right? That a manager range is between 7 and 9 naira. Okay, so you have those figures in your head, because the third thing you need to do is be specific with your ask. There's somebody that was promoted, right? And it's a real life situation. There was no specific ask. The person just wanted to be promoted. Oh, I'm now in this position. I need a promotion. We gave the person a promotion. And the person came storming to my office like a couple of days after receiving the letter. I was like, are you kidding me? So after all the promotion, you're telling me just 20,000 naira increase?
Increase, oh my God.
So the person was like, what am I supposed to do with 20,000 naira increase in my salary? So I've seen cases, another case, somebody was promoted. I'm serious, promoted. 5,000 naira increase in salary.
Wow.
Yes.
What's the point? Just status.
Thank you. What's the point? So it's just,
boosting.
my job title has changed from this to this, but 5,000 naira increase. I mean, come on. So it's also important in your ask to state, expectation. I would expect an increase from, so amount to so amount, and then, those are things you do to prepare.
Today we're talking about money. As an Igbo babe, you already know that's one of my favorite things to talk about. I love money so much. When they say there's a plus, I'm right in there. If you're wondering how and when to talk about salary increase, we have Patrick here. Pato.
Yes, so
now we've spoken about when the right time to ask for a raise, for promotion or promotion is, what the best way to prepare yourself before making this. But now, how do you also frame your request without sounding entitled? A lot of times, I do know, I've heard of some accountants and bosses who expect you to say thank you after your salary is being paid. I've heard of that. And two, now I want to know, how can I come and tell you that, oh, I'm happy to work here, or I'm happy with my job, or I'm happy with what I'm doing, but I feel like I need an increase? Like, how do I say to my boss without feeling entitled?
All right, so first of all, I say you have to be professional about it. A mistake many people make is they come with stories that touch. I just got married. My wife just gave birth. She just put to bed. The children, they are now going to secondary school. Nobody really cares about your baggage and your luggage. Okay, so the focus of the conversation should not be around your needs. It should be around your contribution to the organization.
Right.
So, I mean, if I borrow a saying from the 48 Laws of Power, appeal to their interests, not their emotions. So, when you're pitching your request for promotion or pay increase, you're not trying to appeal to their, it's not an emotional decision.
Right.
Okay, you're not begging for alms. You're a professional, and it's assumed that you bring in value, and you've brought value, and you're asking to be remunerated commensurate to the value you've been bringing in. So you need to frame it that way, okay, so that it's not a pity party or emotional appeal. Be humble but confident. I know this may sound circular in a way, but you have to, as much as you're not being arrogant about your requests, you're not sounding entitled, but you need to be confident. Look, I mean, if you don't tell your story, nobody will loud it for you. All right. So, you could just say, look, I've done this, I've done that, I'm responsible for this, I'm responsible for that, and I would like to have a conversation on how my remuneration can reflect, the work I do.
Right.
Okay. And then thirdly, I would say this: be ready for a dialogue. Your request for a pay increase or a promotion is not a rant where you just come, you rant, and then you huff and puff and off you go again. No, it's a two-way conversation, right? Oh, I think I deserve this, and then you listen, right? Oh, so what can the company do? Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. We can't do this. Oh, we can't do this now. But we could come round to this conversation in a couple of months. It's a two-way give and take dialogue. So be prepared to dialogue it out. And finally, I know I said you should be humble, right? Now let me twist that. Show you have leverage and options.
How so?
So, I mean, don't sound desperate. Like, if they don't increase your salary, or this pay increase will be the best thing that happened to you since the invention of sliced bread, right? Show you have options, okay? Show say then they rush you, right? And I'll be practical. Do you know that there are many employees? I don't think it's right. I have to say it, but I know many employees that got the pay increase and the promotion they've been asking for when they threatened they were leaving.
I got mine when I resigned. Now the place that I resigned from, what they're doing now is paying me what, in fact, apparently I was told that, your salary was even increased last year.
Wow. So
after
you're getting
almost
the back pay.
6 years, it would have been 6 years with them in April to say, we already increased your salary, so now my the debts that they owe me is what I'm getting. And I'm like, so if I didn't
resign,
I think the reason why I'm being given this is because there was slight hopes and of me
changing your mind.
Of me staying back with them, but some people got me and they said, come here, baby. I was like,
So I think increasing somebody's pay when they pull the trigger it's medicine after death. If you think they were that valuable all along, then you should have been remunerating them accordingly and making them feel valued. But then it's a trick to have in your up your sleeve, right? People want to know that you're valuable,
right?
And that if they don't step up, somebody else will step up and take you away from them.
I love it. So, now, how do I present my accomplishments to my boss to make a strong case?
Great. Show me the numbers. Okay. So leave story for storytellers. Okay. If you must show your accomplishment, show it in numbers. I achieved XYZ, right? This project I completed saved the company of XYZ amount of money, right? Be specific. Over the past 6 months, I was able to do A, B, C, D, E, right? You're specific. You have metrics to buttress your points. Okay,
right.
I helped this initiative increase sales by 20% by X amount in naira or dollars or whatever. So nobody can argue with numbers, right? So, and that's the best way to present your accomplishment.
What if my boss says no? What do I do?
First of all, I'll start off with what you shouldn't do. That's not the time. That's not the time to throw tantrums or throw a fit or just, any kind of knee-jerk reaction, right? That's the time to stay calm and remain professional. So the first thing you should do is ask why.
Right.
So your boss said no. I think the first thing to do, you should want to know is why no. And that's important, right? Does your boss feel you're not ready enough for this added responsibility? Does your boss is the business itself not financially ready to take on this extra budget, right? And from asking why, you can know what next steps to take. So the reason why, the reason for this feedback, and then you can plan your next steps. Okay, so if you're not ready now, you ask your boss, so what can I do to be ready for this added responsibility and the commensurate remuneration that will come with this added responsibility. Then ask when you could come back to this conversation. So yes, a no now is not a no forever. I've seen many cases where a no today turned to a yes tomorrow. So you ask for time. Okay, so if I'm able to do A, B, C, D, E, can we come back to this conversation by this time next month? Yeah.
Do people change their minds in a month?
I mean, people do. It's human beings, right? We are all human beings. And I think if presented with a superior argument, any reasonable person would, try to meet you in the middle. And then finally, if all else have failed, that's a good time to start dusting your CV and putting yourself out there. You never know, by the time you get another job, your employer may now be willing at that point to quickly keep you or
Now, how do you now come back and negotiate the terms of your raise or promotion? I mean, there's so many things. If you say no, I've taken the no and I've gone. Now, when I'm coming back again, the same thing that I've said before, I still have it. So how should I, jazz up myself to come back? So
again, mistake many employees make is they focus so much on the salary that they forget that the paycheck is just one element of their total reward or total remuneration. All right, so there's the tangible and the intangible, and we should not forget that those are things that make or break your career. So you can negotiate. Okay, fine, can I have 2 days off? Can I work remotely twice a week?
Right.
And then you can use that time to focus on other things that could generate the revenue or the income you're looking for to help yourself economically. Can I get an official car?
If my salary is
yes,
not being
if you're not increasing my salary, can I get an official car, maintained by the company, fuel by the do you know how much fuel is? Imagine taking fuel off your table.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Yes. Imagine you not being required to come to the office at least twice a week. You've reduced other expenses. What else? I mean, you could ask for an increase in the HMO plan, right? So you have healthcare off your table, and then you say, look, you know what, I want to increase the number of people I can add under me. So you add your mom, you add your dad, add your brother, your sister, so everybody in your family, so the day you say you want to leave, everybody in your family say, bros, until you say we dey benefit from, so it's no longer a decision you can just wake up and just take like that. So look at the benefits. Okay, it's not just your remuneration is not just about the paycheck.
Very well said. Thank you so much. I've learned something today. Every single time we talk, I learn something new to use against you. They sweet me die. But in conclusion, what would you have to just wrap this up?
So many employees are out there, and there was an employee I spoke with once, and he said his salary has not been increased in 7 years. 7 years, and I was shocked. I had to ask him, how have you been surviving 7 years? He says, I just have to manage. Imagine if he'd listened to this podcast, look, and he'd taken the bull by the horns and said, you know what, I've worked in this company this long, I've not had a pay increase. I think so. What kept him? He was afraid. So in closing, I'll say this to everyone: the worst that your employer can say is no.
Right.
And I've not heard of anyone who lost their job simply because they asked for a pay increase or a promotion, except they asked for it in an unprofessional, or they were rude or arrogant about how they went about it. So if you are humble, you're respectful, and you go about it in a professional manner, the worst that can happen is no. And remember what I said, a no today can turn to a yes tomorrow. So be bold, be brave, and take the bull by the horns.
No, Smarty, thank you so much.
You're listening to Career Compass with Patrick and Cha-Cha on Base 101.1 FM.